Okay, first of all, let's get right down to business here. First of all, I have before me the St. Petersburg Times and the Tampa Tribune, the two areas leading newspapers. Sorry about that, Clearwater Sun. But nonetheless, in the Tampa Tribune, the top headline is, Marcos in contempt, face arrest. In the St. Petersburg Times, the top headline is, free flu shots planned for the elderly. Oh, you poor people over there. You poor people over there. Also, looking for the paper to... This is a bad day. This is really a bad day. I turn to the Bay Life section of the Tampa Tribune. I open up, and there's Walt Belcher's TV column. And even though I don't watch an awful lot of television, I usually try to read the column, get a vague idea as to what in the hell's going on. And I find out that Channel 10, home of John Wilson, Anchorman, and Cheryl Brown, will be doing a new series, a new 4-part series that starts on October the 25th. If you don't have a pencil or pen handy, you might want to get one for this. I'll wait. Okay, now that you got your pencil and pen handy, starting on the 25th of October, running through the 29th, a 4-part series on dwarfs. That's right, you heard me right. The series is entitled How Little We Know, or subtitled It's a Small World After All. A 4-part series on dwarfs coming up on Channel 10, home of John Wilson, Anchorman, and Cheryl Brown. Right there on Channel 10. That should be exciting. You see, boys and girls, I'm at my wits' ends. Are you serious? Okay. We'll do this first, then I'll tell you why I'm at my wits' end. Viola, hi, in Sun City Center. You're on the air. How you doing this morning, Viola?
Very well, thank you.
Great. Why are you calling in?
I just pray that I have the right radio station. The question was, what is the title of the Lenten service, the regatta in New Orleans? The answer is Mardi Gras.
Did you say Mardi Gras?
Yes.
All right, Viola, you win! Oh, Viola, have you ever won anything before in your life?
Yes.
What?
Oh, nothing of any significance, really.
Well, this is a very significant win, Viola. You have the right answer. Fantastic. Let me put you on hold. I'll give you to my producer. We'll get your name and address, okay?
Very well.
All right. Wait for that. That prize will be coming out there any time now, Viola. Oh, brother, what a way to start the day. Befuddled people calling in. I have the answer to the trivia question. You see, I am literally at my wits' ends. I mean, literally. Yes, I hung up on her. Literally at my wits' ends. You remember the story about my dream car? Remember how last weekend I almost bought my dream car? How the wife was all for it and everything, and then turns cold as a stone overnight and says no. I mean, it's now down to the point where I walk in the house, I say, "Hi, honey," and she just looks at me with an icy stare and says, "No." My sister-in-law is in town. She came in yesterday afternoon, in from Davenport, Iowa, visiting us for a week. Delightful woman. She wanted to do things like go to Disney World, go to SeaWorld, any kind of world. Didn't make any difference to her. You know, they don't have much going for them in Davenport, so, you know, any place that you can go where there are people around and, you know, people are smiling and it's not filled with corn, she wants to visit. That's cool. I can understand that. I used to live, you know, in places like that, too. So the wife says, why don't you rent a car so that, you know, we won't be hassled in taking you back and forth, picking you up from work and all that kind of stuff. Rent a car for the week, and I'll, you know, use the other car for taking Sis around. So I came in yesterday morning at 11:30, and I picked up the telephone, and I called Snappy Car Rental, as a matter of fact. And by the way, beside all the rest of the story, everything that Norman says about Snappy is true. Phenomenal service. You wouldn't believe it. Anyway, I call Snappy, and I say, guys, I need to rent a car for a week. They said, hey, no problem. I said, I'd like to buy about 3:15 this afternoon. They said, hey, no problem. We'll have it right over there. No problem. Great. Fantastic, guys. Thanks a million. Hang up the phone. 3:15 comes. I'm downstairs. Snappy Car Rentals is right there. They've got a 1988 white Seville with, guess what? You've got it. Burgundy dead cow skin seats. Okay? White Seville. So I said, oh, hey, great. Thanks, guys. See you next week. And they went off, and I got into the car, and I drove home. And the wife says, what's that out in the driveway? And I said, well, it's the car I rented. Oh. So we went out to dinner, and we came back, and I said, by the way, do you want me to move, switch the cars around now, or can I do it in the morning? They're on their way to Disney World right now. I said, I don't know what time you're going to leave, so, she'll, because the way the Seville was parked, there was no way of getting the other car out. And she said, move the cars now. Why would you want to do that? I'll take the Seville. And I said, well, wait a second. We were going to rent a little car for me to go back and forth. It's not my fault that I got a Seville. I didn't ask for a Seville. This is what the people sent me. I guess they didn't have what I wanted, so this is what they sent me. I was just going to get a little car to get back and forth to work with so that you and your sister... Now I'll take the Seville. I said, well, what about the Taurus? I can't use that thing. It's almost 2 years old. I don't feel safe going in it from here to Orlando. I said, well, yeah, it's almost 2 years old. There's never been any problem with it. It's a fine car. Now, I'll take the Seville. Remember, this is Miss Point A to Point B. It's the only reason to have a car is to get from Point A to Point B. You don't need burgundy dead cow skin seats. You don't need a little computer inside the car that tells you how many miles per gallon you're getting or how many miles per kilometer or whatever it might be. But this car has all the stuff. It's got almost all the stuff that the Lincoln had. Now I'll take the Seville. That other thing isn't safe. It's 2 years old. The bottom line is, boys and girls, that she's cruising to Orlando in the Cadillac, and I'm driving that horrible 2-year-old car that's not fit to drive all of a sudden. I mean, last Sunday it was fit to drive. Last Sunday, no, we don't need a Continental. No, one we have is fine. Gets us from point A to point B. It's all the car is for. I don't know what else to do. I don't know I so desperately want this Continental. I desperately want this Continental, and I'm getting nowhere. I've been with you people now for a little over 3 years. And in the last 3 years, I've done a hell of a lot for you. I've done a hell of a lot. I have amused you. I have made you cry. I have made you think. Sometimes I have provoked you. But the bottom line is I've done a lot for you guys, and I've asked for nothing in return. I didn't ask you to send me any money. I didn't ask you to, invite me home for dinner. I didn't ask anything of you people. Well, now I need your help. There is, as we speak, a cassette recording of this program being made in the other room. Because, remember, Miss Point A to Miss Point A to Point B, she's in the Seville, virtually over in Orlando by now. She can't hear what's going on, so we are taping this program for her to listen to tonight when she comes home. Right after she walks in the door and says, "Now!" I need you. I can't explain to this woman. I mean, everything I've tried, it gets nowhere. So I know that there are some of you out there who might be able to help me convince Miss Point A to Point B why I need, and I mean need, this Continental. And like I said, I've never asked anything of you people before. I've never said, hey, send me money. No! I never said, hey, invite me over for dinner. No! I need you. Could you possibly help out your old buddy Lassiter and explain to this woman why I need that Continental? And okay, I understand that some of you, are at work or driving or you're too nervous to call up on the telephone and talk on the radio. I can dig that. But you can do your part, too. We can inundate this woman with postcards. That's all I ask. Either call up and explain so we can tape record it and, make her listen to it tonight, or send a miserable postcard. All you've got to do is put down on the postcard, "Dear Muffy, please let Mad Dog get the Lincoln." That's all you have to do. Just a few simple words. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 miserable words. Dear I call her Muffy, okay? You know, Muffy's... It's a long, involved story. The woman is from Iowa, right? And, you know, I started calling her the corn muffin. You know, she's a lot of corn in Iowa and all that kind of stuff. You know, you can't call her the corn stalk. So I called her the corn muffin, and corn muffin became shortened to muffin, and then muffin became shortened to Muffy. So, dear Muffy, please let the Mad Dog get the Lincoln. Send it care of Lassiter, 801 East Jackson Street, 33602. WFLA, 801 East Jackson Street, Tampa, 33602. Dear Muffy, please let Mad Dog get the Lincoln. I figure, you know, if we can get several hundred, maybe even several thousand postcards, it might start to melt her heart. And on top of that, she'll be driving, you know, the white car with the dead cowskin seats for the next couple of days, back and forth to Orlando or wherever the hell she's planning on going. I mean, would you help? I've never asked for it before. Never. All I want is that Lincoln. It is the only thing in life that I want. Who wrote that promo, but it raises some rather interesting possibilities, and I think I'm going to ask for a copy of that promo so that I can play it while we're renegotiating my contract next spring. Because what it implies is that the only meat in the lineup is, you know, what comes in the middle, unless they're talking about an open-faced sandwich. And in any case, I mean, they're dumping on Liz something fierce. 24 and a half minutes after the hour of 12 noon, already I have received, and I kid you not, already I have received in hand a typed note. Says, Dear Muffy, Bob deserves the Lincoln. Let him have it. Signed, Don. It comes from the boys over there in the newsroom. Sirio, you were so wrong. They're not a bunch of pompous fools over there. They're really caring, thinking guys. You were wrong about that. So already I've got one in hand. Michael, stop the tape for a moment. Okay. A lot of you are probably thinking, gee, this is really a very selfish thing of Lassiter to do, you know, to get us to try to talk his wife into letting him get this, you know, big, expensive, luxurious car with the dead cowskin seats. I am not a selfish man. I will tell you what I will do, and I just, you know, I didn't want Mary to hear this because, you know, it's going to sound, and I mean, you guys know it's not that way, but it's going to sound like I'm trying to bribe you, okay? What we shall do, for those of you who call up this afternoon, to the person who comes up with the best reason for Mary to give in, to cave in, and let me get the damned Lincoln, I will give you 2 tickets to the Bucks game with the Vikings on Sunday. Okay? I'm going to let Sirio. I'm going to let Sirio decide which one is the best story, and the best story will get 2 tickets. And not only that, we're going to sweeten the pot a little bit because we're giving other people tickets to the Bucks games too. You know, it's station promotion. But whoever gets these tickets will be eligible, keyword here, eligible for a drawing for accommodations for 2 Saturday night at the Pickett Suite, dinner for 2 at the Galleria Restaurant at Pickett Suite on Saturday, breakfast for 2, and a box lunch to take to the game. Okay? I mean, you know, what more? I'm not really a selfish man. I'm willing to give you a couple of tickets that don't cost me anything whatsoever for the best possible story. Okay, start the tape again, Mike. All right, let's go to Pat in Tampa. Pat, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Doing great, Pat.
Sounds like you need that car bad.
Oh, desperately, man. It's going to make my life.
Bob, let me give you a helpful hint.
Yeah.
I went down in 1979, was going to buy a Lincoln Continental, and I checked them out, and I found out that the Cougar was basically the same style of car. It had a little bit lighter metal in it.
No. You see, you've got the Mark 7 mixed up with the Signature Series. The Signature Series is a 4-door car. I can sit in the back seat without... Here comes another one. Bob, I think the best reason for you to get the Lincoln is that it'll look good parked outside of Mons Venus next time.
Yeah.
Go to visit. I don't think that one we'll sway. Well, yeah, we'll keep it. Anyway, no, you've got the two mixed up. I agree with you. See, the Mark 7 does not do anything for me at all. It does nothing for me at all. It is basically a $30,000 Cougar.
Right.
But the Signature Series, which is the one that I was looking at, the big 4-door one, no.
Okay.
Dynamite car.
Okay, for your story, for the reason you need your new Lincoln Continental is...
Yeah.
This is another helpful hint, by the way, too. Mm-hmm. When you go in the showroom and you see all them salesmen ready to attack you, look for the one that has the worst pair of shoes, Bob. the worst pair of shoes, because he needs a new pair of shoes.
Well, you see, they've already offered me a deal beyond belief. I'm very, very pleased with the price that they offered.
Mm-hmm.
Very pleased.
Well,
like, all of a sudden, the Taurus, which, just last Sunday was, that's a fine car, gets you from point A to point B, now is not fit to take to Orlando, and it's a 2-year-old car. It's not even 2 years old until January.
Down there and say, well, look at this guy. He needs a new pair of shoes. Okay? Take Mary down there and say, he needs a new pair of shoes, so I'm going to buy the car through this guy here. And he'll probably give you a better deal of the shoes and all.
Well, sir, you must understand that Mary literally grew up on a farm.
Oh.
And we have a hell of a time getting her to wear shoes now.
Oh, no.
It is, it's really a struggle. Usually have to hold her down and put the things on. She's kicking and screaming. It's so unnatural. It's so unnatural. And, I just don't really think that's going to move her that much.
Well, did she take her shoes off when she rode in the car?
Take her shoes? She didn't have them on, sir.
Oh, and she ran her feet in
We can never get her to put them on while the sun's still up.
I see.
Oh, yeah.
But they've run her between her toes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she said it felt very similar to, walking through the barn. Over where they kept the cow.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, we'll talk to you.
One line over, Jackie. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Oh, just broken-hearted, Jackie, broken-hearted.
Well, Bob, I have a message for Muffy. Can I just say it? Because she's going to listen to this later, right?
I'm going to force her to, yes.
Okay, well, Muffy, this is coming from a woman who has a man who cheats around, okay? If your husband goes to work every day and he brings home the bacon to you, he brings home the check, why can't you let him go out and just buy a car? He could be spending it on another woman or some outside kids, or he could even be a drug addict or an alcoholic or a gambler and spending his money that way. If you go to work every day, Bob Lassiter, and you work and you bring home your money to that household, you are faithful to your wife, you deserve that car. You don't even need to ask for her permission. It is your money to do what you want to do, and it's just a car, and it's bringing you some luxury and some pleasure in life. Who is Muffy to tell you that you can't have a little luxury and pleasure? Sure, she's your wife, but you deserve it. You work hard every day, and you deserve it. And Muffy, let me tell you something, honey. If you don't let him get what he wants in a car, he'll try to find it somewhere else. You better let your man spend his hard-earned money on a car. And I'm telling you from a woman who knows who her husband cheats around and does all this and does all that. If he can't get it one way, luxury and pleasure one way, he'll get it another. You better take my advice.
That's right. I'll sit on somebody else's dead cow skin.
That's right. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Jackie, I'm going to put you on hold. I want my producer to get your first name and number, because there's a very distinct possibility, Jackie, that this call is the one that's going to win those tickets.
I hope it is. She better listen. I mean, I listen to your show, but I'm being very serious. What's wrong with a car?
Yeah.
You could be a drug addict. You could be selling rocks or doing crack or anything, and that costs a lot more money than a car.
Yeah.
For just a week of just being an addict. She better let you get what you want to get, honey.
Well, Jackie, let me put you on hold. Michael will get your name and phone number, because you just might have the best call of time. That is a great call. If only I found that woman before Mary. David in Mulberry. David, you're on the air at 970 WFLA. Hello, David.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
All right. I've got 2 Continentals, and I thought maybe I could help.
Well, do it. Try to talk this woman into it, man.
All right. First thing is, like most ladies, they into relationships and want fellas to get into their feelings and this type of thing, and, guys that thought to be shallow and all, but that's really not the case. The case is that we evolved from a different plant than the females, and our feelings are different. And once they know that your feelings go to needing this car, where their feelings might be wanting to talk about a relationship, and they see the value in that, that's how I got my Lincoln.
So I just don't understand how girls think. I mean, she says to me, "You'll be so much happier with the money in the bank." Well, what do you mean? I can't park the money in the bank out in front of the house,
That's right.
I can't go down to the ABC with the money in the bank.
But, you know, this is where your feelings are. You need this car. I used to drive a pickup truck. I now got 2 Lincoln Continentals. My wife drives a Toyota, and we're very happily married.
I mean, Cleveland Wheeler supposedly has a Rolls Royce, and I'm driving around in a damn Taurus.
It's one, you know, the thing is, when she understands that this is where your feelings are.
Harris has a couple of Mercedes. I'm just asking for a Lincoln. That's reasonable, isn't it, David?
Oh, absolutely, and it's a wonderful car. I thoroughly enjoy. I treat my wife just wonderful because she understands my needs and understands my Lincoln, and now she really loves it too. She says, "Take me for a ride in the Lincoln."
The big cheese downstairs. He's got himself a fancy Jaguar.
Yeah.
Webb, he drives around in some flashy little ultra-expensive 2-seater sports car.
Jaguars? No sports cars.
I got a Taurus that the woman says is not safe to take to Orlando.
Probably isn't.
Yes, it is. There's nothing wrong with a car except that it's not a Lincoln. It's a great car. I like the car.
It's not that the Taurus isn't a good car. You want the Lincoln. It's what you need.
I mean, it's amazing. I was going to rent something like a Tempo just to get back and forth to work.
Oh.
And she was, the Taurus was fine to go to Orlando until last night at 5:30.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, no.
The Lincoln is a great car, and it's what you're all about. It's your essence. It's what your deepest feelings, and they're different from female feelings because we evolved from a different planet.
You're right.
We can mate and all that kind of fun stuff, but we're different, and we never will be the same.
Well, we haven't been able to mate since I started looking at Lincolns.
But once you get it and get her out on those Naugahyde seats, or the real leather? Real leather.
It's burgundy dead cow skin, man.
Wow. And what color is it?
Burgundy. Oh, the car is white.
Oh, yes. White's a beautiful car for Florida.
With burgundy pinstripes.
Oh, yeah. And, you'll drive her. I got 100.
I mean, I'm not thinking of myself. I'm thinking of Muffy. She'll be so much safer in that car.
Oh, absolutely. And they're just wonderful to drive. You take trips in. It's big and comfortable. And I'm talking to you from far away in one. You're very comfortable. And I no road noise. I feel safe. I don't feel threatened by other cars because it's such a wonderful car.
Fantastic car. Thank you, David. I appreciate your help.
Good luck.
Okay. I mean, woman doesn't understand that a car, it says so much about you. I mean, you are what you drive. I am not a Taurus. That's all there is to it. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. Larry in Tampa. Larry, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Good afternoon, Bob.
Afternoon, Larry.
Do you really want this car, Bob?
Do what? Are you serious?
No, actually, I'm on your side, Bob. Because I say selfish, smelfish. Muffy doesn't know what she's getting into. What you need to do is take her down to the Grand Prix this weekend and show her what expensive cars are like and the money that they spend on the race teams and the cars and whatnot. Once she sees this, she'll know that your Lincoln's just, in her eyes, small change.
You're right. The Lincoln barely costs what a set of tires for one of those things costs.
Exactly. And although, Bob, I can't go to the Bucks game this week.
Maybe I should sit around the house for the next couple of days going...
Take her down tomorrow, and you've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Inundate her. Just flood her with all these cars, and she'll finally realize that Bob's not asking for much at all.
No,
this is just
a Lincoln.
A pittance.
Yeah.
A pittance compared to what these people spend on all their fancy race cars, and that's just a hobby for these people.
I mean, most of the Ford operators around here drive better cars than I've got.
You're basically looking at a necessity, Bob.
Yes.
And, Bob, let me be the first, okay? Let me be the first. I will offer a $25 check to you towards your car fund.
Well, that's very kind, but unfortunately, I can't accept it.
Well,
jeez.
Understandable, yes.
You could probably send it to Muffy, though.
Well, now that we could do. But I say that...
It would only take 1,000 guys like you, and I could get it.
Yes, indeed.
Just a mere 1,000 listeners to contribute $25 to the...
Bob, you could do it. You could probably do it before 2 o'clock.
Oh.
We're all behind you. I do believe that.
Thank you, my friend.
You're a compassionate man, Bob.
Thank you.
Your Lincoln.
What a fantastic audience. I mean, what this outpouring of love for Lassiter. It's sickening, isn't it? One line available in Hillsborough, 990. Just joining us. You see, Mary and her sister are on their way to Disney World in the Seville, the Cadillac Seville that I brought home from Snappy Car Rental last night. Taurus instead of the Taurus, because suddenly the Taurus is not fit to go to Orlando in. And so what I did at 12 noon is I asked people to help me out, and we're taping the show, because I can't get anywhere with this woman. And, I'm asking you to, perhaps come up with some reasons for her as to why I should have it. And for those of you who can't call, I have begged and pleaded for postcards. Just simply write, Dear Muffy, please let Mad Dog get the link and send it to WFLA, 801 East Jackson Street, 33602. Text or make that Mark in Sarasota. Mark, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Oh, miserable, Mark, miserable.
I'd like to address your lovely wife on this issue, if I may.
Ah, you're talking about Miss Point A to Point B.
Yes, but now
Funny how a point O requires a Seville.
Okay. Now I'd like to speak to your beautiful wife. Now, Mary, I can understand where you're coming from, not liking the Taurus, not feeling real comfortable in it as far as safety, but let's look at it this way, Mary. I know that you want to keep that cash in the bank, but let's take a look at the bottom line here. When it comes time to sell that beautiful Lincoln Continental, that resale is going to be much higher. You're going to get more back for the car. That's number one, Mayor. But most important, Mayor, is your overall ability to use this for your advantage.
I'm not so sure that approach is going to work. You see, I suggested something like that, and she said, we'd be far better off to put the money into a combine. We could rent it out. We could still drive it around town.
Well, I was really more concerned about, you know how my wife has this uncanny ability to remember things about the past and recall like a computer things that I have said.
Please don't mention computers. No.
Or things that I have requested in the past, and just has the overall ability to use this to her advantage. Now, take a look at it this way, Mary. Next time that you want to go out shopping, next time that you want something for yourself, when it comes right down to it, you have the upper hand, Mary. Let Bob have the Continental. He's worked hard his entire life. He's a good man.
Yeah, like when she wanted that expensive ring a couple of weeks ago. I didn't say, well, what do you need an expensive ring? Why don't you just put a cigar band on your finger? It'll do the same thing.
See? These things all have a habit.
I said, no, honey, if you want that ring, I want you to have it. I don't care how much it costs. I want you to have it. And, for a day and a half, it was snuggles and cuddles. No, I'm so happy. Oh, I've never been so happy in all my life. Oh, I love you so much.
Well, I can feel for your wife. I really can. I've heard that she's a super person. I've heard that...
No, she wasn't until last Saturday.
Well, now I know how these things happen, and these are short-term little tips. She might be a little scared. She might be a little bit apprehensive. But, Mary, I'm telling you, the man that you married, the man that you love...
Deserves a Lincoln.
Deserves a Lincoln.
Maybe we could approach it this way. I wouldn't feel so humiliated and embarrassed driving to the jewelry store if I was driving in a Lincoln,
True enough.
Yeah.
Not only that, the neighborhood that you're in, I know the area that you're in right now, it commands respect.
Well, these people over there shun me.
That's right. It commands respect. You are a respectable, even more than respectable, on top of the community.
And the house to the immediate right has a Volvo. The house directly across the street has two BMWs, one 300 series and one 500 series.
There is no question. Then that sells it right there. We're talking
all over the place, and I'm sitting there with a Taurus.
A Taurus.
Jeez.
We're talking matter of pride, status, safety, safety.
I'm not looking out for myself. I'm thinking about my neighbors and property values.
Of course.
This is not a selfish thing for me.
Of course not. You're looking at the bottom line. You're looking at your future, your financial growth. You want to remain on top. This seems to me anyway, the only reasonable facsimile for keeping you at the top when you're driving around.
I mean, I can
town.
just see it now. The people across the street decide to sell their house. They've sealed the deal. The people come by and say, sure, we'll give you $350 for it. No problem whatsoever. They step outside to shake hands.
And they see the
hands,
Taurus.
mind you. Exactly, and bam, they're going to drop the offer to $27,500.
And they say, I thought you said this is
not for
a very
me.
respectable neighborhood.
Well, it is. But, I mean, who's going to want to drop $350,000, $500,000, $1 million for a house when there's somebody in the neighborhood with a Taurus?
My point exactly. I think that you're a super lady, Mary. You have to be. Please give Bob the Lincoln. He needs it bad.
Thank you, Chris. Or Mark.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's keyless entry.
Well, then you can lock your keys in the car, too.
The Lincoln also has a compass in it, a digital compass, and Muffy's always getting lost, so, I figured, with a compass, it would help her find her way home easier.
Well, no, she'll know which way she's directed when she's lost. Now, does it have a digital dash?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on. How can you live without it? I can't.
Well, the Taurus just has, this silly old speedometer with a little needle that goes back and forth.
No, I have a digital dash on mine.
I didn't pop the extra $1,300.
Is that what it was?
The Taurus, yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh, okay. But the thing is, Bob, I mean, I'm sure your sex life has gone right down the tube since you saw this Lincoln and she said you can't get it.
Absolutely.
And it's not fake it. Because, really, men are like this. It's like, those shots that they go to the doctor to get, the B12 shots, only better.
No, and I've just been sitting around the house moping all week long, sighing, going,
Oh, how awful.
Oh, it is.
We can't let her break your spirit like this. So, Muffy, listen to me. Get in the car. He'll repay you with dividends.
So to speak. Thank you, Barbara.
Okay, I hope it works.
Okay, Chris in Tarpon Springs. Chris, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
I'm 13 years old, and this is the first time, and I'm kind of nervous.
Oh. Doing fine.
Thanks. I'll tell you why you should get the Continental.
Why?
I think a great man deserves a great car, and I think you're a great man, and I think it's a great car.
A great man deserves a great car. Oh, I like the way that sounds, Chris.
Thanks.
It's short, to the point, and true. Chris, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put you on hold. I'll have my producer get your name and phone number. You might be getting those tickets. That's really right to the point there. A great man deserves a great car. Ooh. Rick in 970 WFLA.
How you doing, Bob?
Oh, low and down, Rick,
I'd like to give a message to Muffy, if it's okay.
Oh, sure.
Muffy, your husband has slaved for years, trying desperately.
I've worked my tongue to the bone, Rick.
Trying desperately to make a better life for all flag-waving, pledge-saying, God-fearing Americans. Day in and day out, he slaves away at the microphone for pennies, and all he asks for is a simple car, 4 wheels and an engine. The name Continental describes Bob's universal feeling for humanity. Deliver this unto him, as he would deliver it unto you.
And don't forget Lincoln, he freed the slaves.
As he would deliver it unto us. Find the compassion in your heart, and he'll love you always in all ways. Not just from A to B, but from A to Z. Don't put him down to Cleveland Wheeler's level and just give him wheels. Elevate him to the level of another great speaker, Abraham Lincoln, and put him in one, Mary. Do this for all humanity. And if you don't do it for humanity, buy American and do it for the Gipper.
Oh, Rick, I'm going to put you on hold. I mean, with the music in the background, and you've obviously given some great thought to this. I really like that, working in Lincoln, working in Continental, the broad approach and appeal. Oh, that's really great, Rick.
Well, Bob, I'm gonna write to Sam McClellan and have him pray for this.
Okay, well, let me put you on hold. Michael will get your name and phone number. Who knows, maybe you'll be going to that Bucs game with the Vikings this Sunday. Standing by Tex in Tampa. Tex, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Howdy, Bob.
Hi, Tex.
It's been a while, buddy. Listen, you are what you drive, and
that's right.
You are a Lincoln Continental in my book.
I mean, what's a Taurus? A Taurus is somebody's astrological sign.
Yeah. Mary, it's good to talk to you this evening. I'm coming to you over tape delay. Let's be practical here for a second and be honest with one another. Buying a car is, 10% practicality and 90% emotion? Let's talk for a second about this Lincoln. I'm almost sure. Bob, does it have the ABS anti-lock braking system on it?
It certainly does, all four wheels.
Okay, that is extremely important in our climate due to the fact that we have so much rain and the roads are extremely slick.
And Bayshore Boulevard is always flooding. I'm only thinking of Mary.
Yes, indeed. Now, Mary, Bob, a man of his stature, a man of his station in life, not to mention his station in town, is unequivocally deserving, if not, I'm having trouble finding the words to describe the deep passion that I feel for this situation. He needs the car. It's not just a matter of want. To say nothing of the lingering smell of leather on your mate's skin. It is a real turn-on, Mary. It's something you can't turn down. And remember, for those Sunday afternoon drives along Bayshore, do you have a moonroof in it, Bob?
No, this one doesn't.
No sunroof?
No.
Well, let Bob have the car, and I'm sure, as Barbara stated so eloquently, the dividends will return to you. That's all I've got for you, Mary and Bob. My best wishes to you, and I hope that we see you parked over there at Howard's, along beside the BMW 500 series, the Mercedes 300s.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I mean, come on.
Thank you, Tex. Thank you very, very much. Jim in Oldsmar. Jim, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Oh, down and dirty, Jim.
You know, Mary, this depression could become greater and greater each day that Bob does not have this car. And his shows may start to suffer. His ratings will go down.
Yep.
He could lose his job.
Won't even be able to afford the Taurus then.
He could lose his job, and then that means what? You may have to go back to work.
Oh.
Bob will become more depressed and more depressed. He will start drinking heavily, smoking heavily, eating tasty cakes, in massive quantities.
Washing them down with Black Russians.
Right. Made from cheap booze, of course.
Oh, of course.
He'll need therapy, and you know how much therapy costs. He'll start to gain weight. You'll come home after a day at the office, getting ready for your second job just to be able to cover the house payment and the rent. Don't let this happen. Give Bob this car. It'll save you so much grief, pain, anxiety. Give him the car. You deserve it. He deserves it.
Great. Thank you ever so much. I appreciate that, Jim.
No problem, Bob.
Take care. Carol in St. Petersburg. Carol, you're on the air at 970.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Carol.
I'm a first-time caller. I'm a little bit nervous here. A Lincoln is a prestige car.
That's right.
And Mary is a high-class woman.
Very, very high-class broad.
No other woman would look as good as you by my side, Mary. And that's the reason.
That's
You'd be the best-looking woman in the Lincoln.
Yes, she would.
I want.
You know, it compliments her so well. Mary has blonde hair. It goes perfect with a burgundy seat. Her blue eyes are offset by the white exterior of the car. They just sparkle. And that new ring that I bought her also looks great. I mean, when we're out for the test drive and she had her arm on the armrest.
Right.
That ring just sparkled so well in that car.
Well, that'll do it. You just tell her how great she looks in the car. No other woman would look as well.
That's true. I thank you ever so much, Carol.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Oh, it's true. It's dead on the money. What a great audience you people are. What a fantastic. If you can't call in, would you consider the postcard? Just something to the effect of, Dear Muffy, let Mad Dog get the Lincoln, or words to that effect, and send it to WFLA, 801 East Jackson Street, Tampa, 33602. I don't know, a couple of hundred, a couple of thousand, anything to help sway the woman at this point. And, you know, then we can get back to Bible bashing and ripping Reagan and Bush and that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not selfish motivation. I'm thinking of you guys. That's the ticket. I'm thinking of you guys. But suddenly dawned on me during the newscast that somewhere over at the end of a dirt road in the middle of a swamp in Seminole, Florida, in a converted World War I bomb shelter, sits some poor guy named Ed Hardley, bangs his head against the wall day in and day out trying to figure out, how can I get listeners? How do I go check in and see what Lassiter's doing today? Then somewhere in a converted chicken coop in the bowels of downtown Tampa, in the plush quarters of the Sun Radio Network, sits a little guy named Jack Ellery. Jack is preparing his show now. Jack's sitting around saying, well, let's see, should we try to call the mayor again, get her on the phone? How about stupid trivia? No, I think I'll check in and see what Lassiter's doing. It's got to really be disheartening. In any event, welcome back. It's hour number 2 for a Thursday, October the 20th, 1988. It's one of those days that, I'm just kind of down and I'm not feeling too good because Muffy won't let me get the Lincoln, and I've tried everything. I've begged, I've pleaded, I've offered to do extra chores. I don't know what is left, except maybe this great outpouring of intelligence and wisdom from the audience might convince Muffy to let me get the Lincoln. If you weren't with us, very briefly, this is what happened. Muffy is married. Muffy's what I call her, okay? Muffy's sister is in visiting from out of town. She got in yesterday. So her sister wanted to go to Disney World and Sea World and all kinds of places like that. And, I'm cheap. We only have one car, okay? So in order to make it more convenient for them to get around, we were going to rent a little car for me to drive back and forth to work so that they could use the Taurus. You'll remember the Taurus. The Taurus last Sunday was a fine automobile, a perfectly good automobile to get from point A to point B. And in the words of Muffy, that is all you need a car for, is to get from point A to point B, right? You remember that? I remembered it too. So I called up Snappy Car Rental yesterday. And I said, hey, guys, I need a car for the week, thinking, I'll get like a Tempo or something like that, something small. And they said, great, no problem. Everything Norman says about them is really true. They had a car over here for me at 3:15 yesterday. I called them at 11:30 in the morning. 3:15, they're sitting out in front of the station. I didn't even have to go pick the damn thing up. But they brought me a Seville. They brought me a brand new Cadillac Seville, which, strangely enough, happens to be white. Isn't that amazing? The same color as the Lincoln Continental. Strangely enough, happens to have burgundy dead cowl seats. Strangely enough, happens to have all the electronic gizmos, except for the compass. It doesn't have the compass that the Lincoln Continental had. So I drive home yesterday. I pull into the driveway. I'm met at the door by this woman who's looking out there saying, what is that in the driveway? You didn't buy that Seville, did you? I said, no, honey. This is the car I rented from Snappy. And she said, how much is that? Well, no, I'll spare all the details. But anyway, about 8:30 last night, we took Sally out to dinner. Sally's the sister. And we were sitting in the living room, and I said, honey, would you like me to switch the cars around? Because the way the driveway is set up, the way I had the Seville parked, you couldn't get the Taurus out. And I said, would you like me to move the cars now? Because I don't know how early you're leaving in the morning, or shall I move them in the morning? And she said, what? What do you mean move the cars? That Taurus isn't fit to take to Orlando. The Taurus is less than 2 years old. It only has about 25,000 miles on it. There's not a damn thing wrong with it. It's a fine car. I've had it for 2 years. I like the car. It's a nice car, but, I'm not a Taurus. I'm a Continental, And I said, what, honey? She said, that car's not fit to go to Orlando. I'll take the Seville. And so up she was at the crack of dawn this morning, loaded the sister in the car. Bam, the Seville's gone. I'm left with a car that's not fit to drive all of a sudden. Last weekend it was fit to drive. Last weekend it was a great car to get from point A to point B. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Tampa's point A, Orlando's point B, right? No, not in Muffy's eyes. No, I can't go to Orlando and sit on cloth seats. No, I've got to have dead cow burgundy seats. I can't go to Orlando without knowing how many miles to the gallon I'm getting on the computer. So in total exasperation, I came in and I asked the audience to do one of two.